Hey there everyone, my name is Andrew, and this is Canadian Starships. Let's see what's on the bench this week. This week on the bench, and hopefully it will be this week on the bench, we are going to finish the final assembly of the two Enterprise E's that are on the bench. In last week's update, we got every last LED finally installed in the models. Now we need to make sure that we get everything assembled, sealed up. So that's going to require us to make sure all of the wiring for the LEDs are connected down through to the base and getting the assembly done. And we'll see how far we get on that, whether we get to some putty work and primer. We'll see just how far we get, but let's get right at it. But before we get started, why not take a moment and click the subscribe button? And while you're here, click on that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. If you're looking to buy a Tesla and would like to support my channel, you can use my referral code located in the About section of my channel or in the description of this video. So in between updates, I got the saucer, the lower saucer part attached to the secondary hull on both Enterprise kits. Now, I mentioned before that I wouldn't normally do it this way, but the LED for the quantum torpedo launcher was a late addition and I couldn't feed it through the deflector housing, so it's had to come up through the top saucer to be connected down into the base that way. So it's just required some creative thinking in getting this lower section on first. So my first task this week will be to wire everything up to their main leads going down through to the base, which will then attach to the Arduinos. Once we have all of that wiring taken care of, we'll be able to do a full test run on the initial test sketch that Danny has provided me. He's really anxious to see it all working together to make sure that everything works as intended. So we're going to start working on getting all the wiring sorted out down to the post. That'll also include the top saucer section, so might need to be a little bit creative on cradling the top saucer section to be able to connect the particular LEDs that are in there, namely the NAS and the phaser array. It can be a little challenging wire management wise when you have to connect everything from a top and bottom saucer and while the two parts are still separate. So we're going to work on getting all that wiring down, because that means we'll be able to get the top saucer on, we'll be able to get the neck in place and have final, well, mostly final construction complete. I won't be putting the grills on the nacelles until later down the process line. So here we'll go. We're going to get some wiring done. Now, so it's quite important before you do any final assembly to double check, triple check, quadruple check absolutely everything to make sure that you haven't forgotten anything. I forgot something quite major on this. I forgot to fill in the clear areas where either the missing or wrong size windows are. So I have done that with the clear resin, and I am now ready to peel the Scotch tape off of the piece here and reveal the nicely filled clear area where the window masks will go. The other thing I totally forgot to do, and I'm glad I didn't permanently forget before doing a final assembly, is the Shuttlebay. Now, it will not be clear, and I'm not sure if I want to worry about using the photo etch part for it, because this part is actually quite decently done. I will pre-paint it, and it's a gray color, so I will pre-paint it. And then I am not doing a full Shuttlebay in either of these two kits, but I will want to put the two little specks of light that show up here. And so the way I'm going to do that is just by feeding a piece of fiber out the two parts. I'm just going to feed it directly through behind this bulkhead here, and it's just going to pick up the light from the windows. So that's going to be fairly easy. They're just meant to be two little points of light there. And just going to decide what to do about the observation deck. I do have the photo etch for that. I've got one of the pieces ready to go, but I just have to decide if I'm going to light that or not. So those couple of things need to be dealt with before we get final assembly done. So I'm going to work on the Shuttlebay door piece along with the fiber on there so that that is ready to go. Taking a quick look at footage from First Contact, I want to take a quick look at those light sources here, and they're just those two pinpoint bits of light under the observation area. They fall underneath the corners of the observation area. So I think that's going to work out quite well if we just use a little bit of fiber, picking up the light from inside where the window lights are. We can get a decent look if we back it up here just a little bit of the observation window. You can kind of see some window, some room inside there. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to successfully reproduce that on such a small kit. I've tried it before. It's not turned out all that well. And but you do see a little bit of detail in there. If we switch over to the studio model here, we don't really get a good look inside, but you do get to see the detail of the Shuttlebay doors. There is a bit of two-toneness going on here. Clearly there's a piece that's removable, so they have access inside there. But we are going to do our very best to get that to look good. I think that the plastic part that's provided with the kit is probably pretty good for this spot here. I'm not sure if this is actually meant to be a different color or if it just appears to be a different color because it is textured in here and reflects the light a little bit differently. I'm not sure, but when you go back to the film version here, you really can't see much of that detail in there because it's quite moody and dark. But what's really important to see are those lights. I think those are really important to have happen on the model. Here you can see the Shuttlebays have been primed, and because they're essentially that color, we'll probably keep it that way. You can also see the holes that have been drilled to allow the fiber to come through. So these are pretty much ready to be installed. What I'm going to do is just allow the paint to cure a little bit more. I will run the fiber into these pieces flush to the front, and there'll be enough out the back that it'll be able to go into the saucer and pick up the light from the windows. I will then create a mask to go over the face of the part so that it can be protected from base coat painting that'll be done. We don't want to cover these with the hull color. And I'll just measure that up, cut a piece of masking tape that will fit so that it can be easily removed once the base coat or any other coats are done. And because I'm doing it that way, I can pre-install the fiber, cut it flush with the front, and it'll be protected from the paint that way. So a few things going on. I will do my absolute best to show it all to you. We will start with the Shuttlebay doors, which have the one, they've been painted, and two, they've got the fiber in them already. And the fiber is flush. I will create a mask over top of that before I install it into the ship. We look at the ship, and I've got, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this, but I've got the two aperture holes for the fiber to go through so that it pokes through to the other side. It'll be long enough just to poke through and pick up lighting from the interior light. We don't need anything too bright, but we just need those light sources to be there. The next thing I'm going to show you is that I have these printed graphics here. You're not going to be able to see what it is, but essentially it's just a generic Shuttlebay, kind of Star Trek Shuttlebay area, and I'm going to use a glossy version of this, but essentially it's going to be back in here, and I've got the Shuttlebay piece, which I have completed, and it's got a 0402 SMD stuck inside just above the windows there. It's on a short leash, sorry. And that will get installed on here. And I've been playing around with the resistors. Oh, that came out. But essentially, that's going to give just enough light to... So you can see that there is something going on inside. So that's where we are at right now. I'm going to get a bunch of this stuff permanently installed. This LED is just on its 24-hour test run right now, and I've got to get the other one soldered up and getting on its test run. It'll be installed in here, and that'll be just enough light so that you can see that there's at least something going on. And I will also need to put a clear piece over top of this just to show that there is some sort of window there. So I seem to be getting completely sidetracked by Shuttlebay stuff, which, I mean, it's important that that's done before final assembly is completed. So I have the LED installed with the epoxy. I might need to put a little bit more here just to keep the wire out of view of the window. And I've also got the quote-unquote glass in place on the back there. If I put it at the right angle, you can see the light shining off of it. And so my next step is to mask off the window from the outside so that it doesn't get any paint on for the base coat or any additional painting that's going to need to be done. And then we will get this installed onto the kit. I removed the resistor off of the wiring because I'm going to need to feed that through the bulkhead that's just behind the shuttle bay, so that it can go down into the main section of the ship to connect for wiring. Oh, there you can really see the clear plastic that's on there for the windows. So yeah, we're gonna get that taken care of. I've also got the other shuttle bay observation deck window here, and this has been sitting overnight. I've got the photo etch secured in place. So these parts require a lot of work to get the photo etch in, but it looks really good once it's done. So this is going to get a primer coat, and then once that's secured, we'll do the rest. Just like this one, we'll get the LED in place, we'll get the plastic in place for the windows, and we will get it masked off for body painting on the entire ship after it's been installed. Shuttle bay observation window is in place and masked off, and you can kind of see, oh, I just dropped it there, but you can kind of see the artwork that's in there and the 0402 SMD that's wired up to give enough light to be able to see it. So it's epoxied in place and the wire is just fed through to the other side, and that's going to be kind of an interesting little feature to be able to see what's going on inside there. If I flip this over, there you go. You can see how it's been masked off and installed in place. So we're making progress. It's a bit of a sidetracked week. We're not going to get final assembly done, but this is a good chunk of shuttle bay work that had to happen. Just want to quickly demonstrate how the fiber and the shuttle bay doors are functioning. So you can see the fiber flush with the surface here on the door. So there's one right there and there's one right here. And you can see the strand of fiber running through this bulkhead into the back end. So this is going to be put into place with the fiber attached, and then these will be trimmed off fairly close to the bulkhead, and those will pick up the light that's inside for the windows and create those two spotlights here. So I'm going to secure the window, not the windows, but the door down in place, and then once that's done, we will kind of secure the fiber with microcrystal clear, probably on each side if I can get it in there, and then we will cut those off relatively short so they're not getting in the way of everything else. Here we have the shuttle bay door, the observation lounge, everything installed properly and masked. I don't have the resistor on the wires yet, so I'm not going to turn that on because you won't be able to see anything anyway because it's been masked off. But this shuttle bay done. I just have to rinse and repeat on the other kit, and those will be the shuttle bays taken care of. Not quite what I was thinking about accomplishing this week, but it had to be done, and quite fiddly time-consuming work. So here we go, all done. The fiber here, if you can see it, is poking way out. It'll get cut off once I secure it on the inside here. I haven't quite done that yet, but there it is, installed and ready to move on to the next step. And unfortunately, that's going to be everything for this week's update from the bench. Obviously, we did not get to basically anything that we hoped to this week. My goal had been to get final assembly done, and that didn't happen because we realized we hadn't gotten to the shuttle bay stuff yet That was quite the fiddly, time-consuming work. It had to be done. We got totally sidetracked this week by the Shuttlebay work. So I am hoping that next week we're going to get to final assembly, get that thing assembled, because I want to move on to that paint work. That's one of my favorite steps on the whole project. Quick update for you on the 650 scale Enterprise Ds. They are on their way soon. All the kits have been made. I've been assured that they're made. They're working on the packaging so that they can be shipped out across the ocean safely and securely. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that 650 Enterprise D kit, hopefully very soon. And as soon as it comes into the shop, I will get an unboxing video done same day that it arrives, unless I'm in the middle of something else. But very shortly after it arrives, I will get a video out to you. So I hope that you've enjoyed this update, even though it wasn't exactly what we had planned. If you did, make sure that you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, why not hit that subscribe button today? You'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew, and this is Canadian Starships. Have a great day, everyone.